And the idea was, I'm going to run a Super Bowl ad. And least I go back just a little bit. When I was running my recruiting firm, we were growing and we were doing extremely well. And I went to a party that was an internet party in 1995. And at that party, I saw the young internet companies in New York City. The next day, I started an internet company because thought became action. There was no rationalizing or thinking about it. The next day, I went to work. I said to my partner, you've got the recruiting firm. I'm going to focus on the internet. I didn't even know what we were going to do. So that day, on the train, coming home, realizing I was closing the business, that thought was going to become action the next day. The next day, I was going to close Hot Jobs because we were failing. And I had the Hail Mary idea. And the Hail Mary idea was, I'll run a Super Bowl ad. Didn't know what running a Super Bowl ad meant. Didn't know what it entailed. I called somebody the next day. I said, how much does it cost to run an ad? And he said about 1.6 million bucks, and that's just for the ad. You got to make the commercial, which is another 700 to a million at least. And I realized I didn't have $2 million. And that moment on, everything I did focused on getting a commercial on the Super Bowl. And so I mortgaged my house, I mortgaged my business, I didn't know about venture capital money, and they wouldn't have given me money for an idea like this anyway, because no one was advertising on television. No internet company before we ran that Super Bowl had run an ad on television. So we were breaking ground. So I went to Dime Savings Bank, and I said, I want to mortgage my house, I want to mortgage my business and all. We need a revolving line of credit for our business. It's just the responsible thing. We've been in business for 8 years, 9 years, and we have no credit line. So would you give us a credit line? So I got a credit line application. We started going through the process. And by October, we still didn't have this credit line. And we were going for a $4 million credit line. I said to my lawyer friend I went to Bucknell with, I said, I got to buy this ad. There's only 6 left. He goes, Richard, if you buy that ad, you will be financially ruined. And the next day, my loan came through for $4 million. I didn't really tell Dime that I was going to spend that in 30 seconds, but we bought the ad on, Fox was running the Super Bowl that year, and we bought the ad, and we didn't know any of this was going to happen. But we submitted our commercial, and Fox rejected it, said it was distasteful. And which, coming from Fox, it's pretty crazy. But it wasn't distasteful. It was Fox's first year doing the Super Bowl, and they were being ultra conservative. It was real quick. It was an elephant in a cage with the zookeepers sweeping up, and the elephant eating hay. They didn't even know that each other were in there, and they backed into each other, and all of a sudden you just see the head of the elephant as he grabs some hay and sits down, and from the expression in his eye, you can tell he sat on something. And as the elephant stood up, the camera pans back. The only thing you can see from the rear of the elephant is this broom dropping, and the ad, it says, "Stuck in the wrong job. Try hotjobs.com." So, we didn't run that ad. But as a result, thought became action. I called the New York Times, Stuart Elliott, and said, Stuart, Fox just rejected our ad. He goes, so what? And so we called Sally Beatty at the Wall Street Journal. Sally Beatty wrote a full-page story on Hot Jobs. And within the next 2-3 months, we had over 800 stories written in paper, 135 news interviews, and we got more advertisement in the 2 weeks before the Super Bowl, or publicity, I should say, than the 2 teams playing. So again, you can't force the outcome, but you can focus on your process and what prepares you to make these huge decisions. Everything I did in my life up until that moment prepared me. This moment, everyone in this room is the product of all the experiences that you've ever had in your life up until this point. Every day is a Super Bowl. The decisions you make going forward, are you prepared to make them? Are you trained? Are you ready to make those, thought become action decisions? I looked at these 10 players, I looked at the 10 companies, and all of them made those jumps for various reasons. They all stepped it up. We look at Rob Kaiser. I talked to Rob a couple years ago when he was starting it. He brought his domain experience, his previous experiences, and he made a decision. I don't know when that light bulb hit for the 10 award winners or Rob or some of the others here, but when does the light bulb go off, and how you act is the game. And the processes that you have gone through in your life and the training that you have gone through prepares you for that, and you just got to approach like every day is a Super Bowl. For me, I'm sitting here, I look at ideas and get pitched ideas all the time, and I'm ready. If the right idea happens, I'm cocked and loaded. I can pull the trigger on an idea tomorrow, today, next hour. I'm ready. Now, I hope maybe for the sake of my chickens that I don't have to make a decision, because I'm going back to chicken management class and learning how to raise chickens, and we're getting bees next week too, so I'm going off the grid here. But I just want to thank the people, everyone involved. It was a great process, and the companies were fantastic. And before this experience, I thought if that idea happened, that I would have to go to New York City or somewhere else to make this company or idea that I would execute. But in this process, and it's becoming, in the last year and working with UNCW, it's made me realize right here in Wilmington, there are great opportunities, there are great people, resources, and there's absolutely no reason not to start a company in Wilmington. And the next company I start will be here. Thank you.